And welcome back to my 30-day summer challenge for 30 minutes every day this month. I'm going to be talking about language. Yesterday, I talked about the biblical foundations of language. If you missed that, then you'll want to go back to yesterday's reel and check that out. It's about 30 or 40 minutes. And that's what I'm doing. I am jumping on to Instagram Live, and I'm going to be talking about reading, writing, and everything language arts when it comes to homeschooling. All right, so I laid a foundation yesterday for biblical principles of language, and today we're going to talk about the art and science of language. And I mentioned yesterday that I'm using a curriculum called The Writing Road to Reading, which is a book that basically gives you a professional foundation and understanding for teaching reading and writing in the elementary grades. So I am a homeschool parent and a homeschool teacher. I homeschooled my kids all the way from first grade until 12th grade, and now I am homeschooling other people's children. So, welcome if this is your first time seeing me or hearing about this 30-day challenge. I am going to help Christian homeschool parents learn how to teach writing and reading and everything language arts for this summer. For this month, And if the reason why I'm doing this is because, well, two reasons. The first reason is I have a course called Elementary Reading 1, where I teach you the exact teaching strategies on how to teach this program. And the second reason I am on here is because I think that this is a great program to seriously consider if you want to learn how to teach your children language arts as a homeschool parent, and if you want to not have to worry about what curriculum is the best curriculum or what curriculum is the curriculum that is going to help give your child that solid foundation in language arts. All right, so I forgot to mention also that this is a very inexpensive program. This book itself is $20. You might need to get the flashcards for $8, but that is it, because that's how cheap it is to do that. And you can teach that for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, and seventh grade. Now, there's a lot of programs out there that follow a similar method to the Writing Road to Reading. The Writing Road to Reading was developed by Romalda Spalding. But Romalda Spalding was a student of Orton Gillingham. Orton Gillingham was a reading person. Actually, I don't even know what he was. I didn't look that up. Sorry, I'm not that prepared, but anyway. Okay, so he had a specific method of teaching reading to help people or students who had dyslexia. And so Romalda Spalding created this program soon after, I'm sure, that she learned the Orton Gillingham method. And this was developed, probably in the 60s. But nowadays, if you're a homeschool parent, there are multiple programs based on the Orton Gillingham method and the Spalding method, the Writing Road to Reading. So, I'm going to just quickly mention what those are, but we have the Logic of English. That is a great program. That costs a lot more money because it's got all the bells and whistles for teaching reading, which you don't necessarily need, and that's why I'm promoting the Writing Road to Reading, because it's challenging to learn, but at the same time, it is inexpensive and can be used to teach all different grades. Okay, so the Logic of English, and then you have All About Reading and All About Spelling. Those are also part of the Orton Gillingham type of methodology. Those are the three that I would recommend if you're going to get a full curriculum and spend hundreds of dollars. But if you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars, you're going to just follow me and come join me on my lives and learn how to teach this program without all the fluff. And like I said, if you're wanting to really teach your child, giving them a solid foundation for little amount of money over a span of their whole elementary years, then this is it. I'm your girl. Okay? So, the art and science of language. If you look up the definition in the 1828 dictionary for the word science. Now, if you are new, you probably don't know, but I love to use Webster's 1828 dictionary. I do have a copy of one right there. It's really thick and big and so fun to use. The kids absolutely love using it. But you can access this version or that dictionary on the online version at, let's see, let me move this for a second. Webster's Dictionary 1828.com. Okay, so you can check that out. So the definition, we like to start with definitions because we want children to know exactly what we're talking about. So the word science comes from the Latin word scientia, which means to know, has to do with knowing or knowledge. So the definition number one is, in a general sense, knowledge or certain knowledge, the comprehension or understanding of truth or facts by the mind. And then number two definition is, in philosophy, a collection of the general principles or leading truths relating to any subject. And so this is where I'm going to start, because the science of language, what does that actually mean? The science of language is basically, what do you need to know about language? What are the facts? What are the truths? What are the principles that are going to help you understand what that subject is? So that's what the science of language is. That has to do with what it is that you're learning. That's the simple version. Now, if we look up the word art in the 1828 dictionary, it says it comes from the Latin word ars or artis, and it basically means the disposition or modification of things by human skill to answer the purpose intended. Number two, a system of rules serving to facilitate the performance of certain actions, opposed to science or to speculative principles, as the art of building or engraving. So the idea of the art of language has to do with how you're teaching language or how you're learning language. So today I'm going to talk about the science of language, what you need to know, and also the art of language, how that works and when you're teaching. Okay. So what you need to know about language first and foremost, and we usually start a lot of our subjects this way, if not all of them. What is the big picture? What are all the components involved in teaching language? So when you think about language, you have things like words, like spelling, the meaning of words, vocabulary, the word parts like suffixes or prefixes, and you have how those words are used in sentences, and then how they can be used and arranged and embellished in paragraphs. Okay, so these are all the different components. You have the language arts, which you typically think of language arts, you think of the spelling and grammar and sentences. But it also includes reading, okay? So teaching a child and learning how to read. So that's one of the components of language, is reading. And then writing, of course, has to do with the spelling and grammar and sentence construction. And then, wait a second. In the Writing Road to Reading, they actually have 3 main sections to teach you how to do this: the spelling lesson, the writing lesson, and the reading lesson. So in the spelling lesson, you're going to cover grammar. In the writing lesson, you're also going to cover grammar. And in the reading lesson, you're going to cover what we call etymology, which is word parts, the prefixes, the suffixes, the base words. And then you're also going to be doing vocabulary when it comes to reading, because a child should know what those words mean. So in the Writing Road to Reading, those are the 3 main sections. And if you were to break it down even more so into the different components of language, you would have, like I said, etymology, where you take some of those spelling words and you actually analyze them to figure out why they are spelled the way they are. So it really gives you a background for understanding how words work. And then we have, of course, composition part of writing, where you're learning about paragraphs and how they are structured and what makes a paragraph. And so those are some of the things that you need to know about language. That would be the science of language. So again, just a quick recap: the spelling lesson, the writing lesson, the reading lesson, which within those 3 you'll find the etymology, the vocabulary, the grammar, and all of those. Okay? So that is the science of language. Now let me talk a little bit about the art of language. Okay? So we're coming from a teacher's perspective here. This is for Christian homeschool parents learning how to teach their child how to read and how to learn to write and spell. Okay? So the art of language is all about how you deliver this information. So all these facts that I told you, they have to be delivered in a certain way. Otherwise, it's just going to be a big mess and people won't understand it. You know, some people have grown up and they don't understand how to write well, or their sentence structure is not the way that it should be. We rely on Grammarly so much, you know, the website Grammarly, where you're learning how to word your sentences properly. Well, if you have a solid foundation when you're young, I'm talking kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, if you have a solid foundation for writing sentences, then writing paragraphs is going to be no problem for you, because you're going to have that understanding. So I often like to sort of be the critique a little bit, where I say things like, unless you have, no, let me back up, where people have said, you're either good at math or you're not good at math, or you're really good at writing or you're not good at writing, as if it's some kind of gift that God imparted in you at birth in a particular gene in your body. But I am of the opinion that being good at math and being good at reading and writing has everything to do with the way you are taught at the beginning of your school years. So that's why I love promoting the Writing Road to Reading, because it does give children a solid foundation in how to read well and write well. And they grow up and it's just an automatic for them. They understand it, it makes sense to them, and they become able to write. So that is the art of a language, learning how to deliver the content. All right, so that's what that is. Now, what I want to do next, because this is day 2 of my 30-day summer challenge, where I'm going to be talking about language. And tomorrow I'm going to get into the specifics of language. So we're going to start with phonogram sounds, basically the sounds of A through Z. All right, and There is a science to those phonogram sounds, and there is an art to it. So we're going to implement the art and science of language all throughout these 30 days. And like I said, tomorrow's going to be about phonograms A through Z, and then day 4 and 5 I'm going to show you how to, or what the sounds are for all the other letter combinations that make one sound. And then I'll be teaching you how to review these phonograms orally and in written form. Then I'll be teaching new spelling words and old spelling words, and then how to mark words, to analyze them, how to apply spelling rules, and then how to practice for a test. And then I'm going to get into grammar, simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and I'll probably get into paragraphing also, since we are talking about language arts for early elementary, but can also be implemented or utilized for upper elementary. All right. What else do I have for you? I think that's pretty much it. I wanted to just explain the difference between the art and science of language, because it's one thing to know what to teach, but it's a whole nother ball game to know how to teach it. And you're not just thinking about the components that you have to deliver, but you're also thinking about your audience that you have to deliver it to. Number one, most likely, if you're a Christian homeschool parent, you're teaching children. Children have a different mindset and different capabilities than adults, as you all know. But we're not just teaching children, but we're teaching individuals, little people who have all kinds of different personalities, different learning styles, different intelligences. And so it's kind of like a dance when you're delivering the information that you need to deliver with language. But I show you the skills that you need so that you can teach any child. And that's the beauty of this program, okay? So if you're already thinking about it and you're a Christian homeschool parent, then you should check out the Writing Road to Reading. It's probably only like $20, I think. I'm not sure. I mean, I could look it up real quick, but $20. Maybe the phonograms are like another $10. And you can use just that. And then you're just going to need like a simple composition book that looks somewhat like this, as you've all seen. This little notebook here is where the students write down all of their practice work and their phonograms and their rule pages and all that stuff. So it's super fun to see the final product of that. All right, so that is it for today. I think I've just introduced you to the idea of the difference between the art and science of teaching language, and I hope you got something out of this. If you are interested in my Elementary Writing 1 course, online course, it's got 6 lessons. Let's see, let me bring that up. You can find it on the biblicalclassicalcommunity.com website. And I teach with a bunch of other principled teachers, and my elementary writing course is for sale for $69. It has 6 lessons. We have the biblical foundations of reading, phonics basics, spelling routines, fluency tips, comprehension strategies, and then putting it all together. So you learn these specific strategies that I'm going to be talking about this month, but in more depth, and then how to put it all together. There's a sample lesson on the website that you can look at. The lessons book that comes with the online course is 10 pages long. It explains everything that I'm talking about, and it also comes with a handouts packet. This is the best part of the online course. And this is where I provide you with 15 different types of worksheets. I start off with the Biblical Foundations worksheet that we talked about yesterday. And then I have the whole list of phonograms 1 through 71 is what I normally teach. But for the advanced students, we go to 87. And then I teach you how to teach reading with basic 2-letter, 3-letter words. And I give you lists of words to start off that are the easiest. And then I give you a list of words for each of the phonograms. I also provide links to my favorite phonics activities, some different hands-on writing activities that you can do, links to the phonogram sounds that I'll be teaching tomorrow, and then grammar, what you need to know for grammar and how to teach that. And then I have a handout for parts of speech. You can organize your spelling words into lists of parts of speech. And then I have the spelling routines worksheets, the spelling rules list, the syllable patterns, the markings guidelines. Then I have reading fluency checklist. If you're not testing your child for reading fluency and you don't know how to do that, send a comment or let me know, and I can give you a good direction for that. But you learn all about that in my course. And then, of course, I have some entry-level worksheets for teaching comprehension in reading. So that's my Elementary Reading 1 course on the biblicalclassicalcommunity.com website. And I hope you check that out. Check out the Writing Road to Reading for $20 on Amazon. If you need a link for that, I probably have an affiliate link, but anyway. All right, that's it for now, guys.